What's good, YouTube? It's Nael, and I'm pretty excited for this video because I've had this thought in my. I've been thinking about it for like the past 2 days. I'm like, I'm gonna make a video about this because I had a lot of thoughts on it. This phrase, "the truth will set you free," and this video is gonna be about why I disagree with that statement. I think that statement is false. All right, I think that statement is wildly a huge, a big ass generalization. You feel me? And I'm gonna explain why I think that is, and yeah. So let's get straight to it. Um, I've always believed in that phrase, because it makes sense. Once you know truth, you'll move accordingly. Like, you move freely. Like, okay, now I see, how things are. Now I'm like free to do the right thing, to live according to that truth that I know. I feel like I've lived through experiences where that's not the case, and where I'm like I feel like me myself, like, through the experiences that I've lived through, I found that's not the case. That there's something else. Um, there's something else that like counters that statement, or not that that statement isn't wrong. It's just that's not the whole truth. Like, the truth will set you free is not the whole truth, and I feel like that statement is also like assuming of the person in question. I feel like that's the case with a lot of phrases today. Like, like it's applicable to everybody's situation, and I feel like that's not the case. There's definitely exceptions to every um, saying. I think if you're a person in this world that is searching for truth, like the truth about, whether it's the truth about yourself, the truth about the world, you know, like, why are things the way that they are? If you're, I've been a curious person since I was young. I'm sure there are many others out there who want to discover the truth, and that might lead the person to, you know, learning about different religions, different philosophies, a bunch of stuff, just to learn. Really, the basis is just to learn the truth, right? I think before you even take that step to even think, okay, I want to do this to, discover this, or like, why it's like this, or like, that's what like scientists do, right? They make a hypothesis, and they do an experiment to test that hypothesis out, to discover the truth. You know, it's crazy, but like, literally everyone's trying to do the same thing. Like, we all have these differences, but everyone's really just trying to come to the same conclusion, and that's the truth. To find the truth of like the world and people and everything, really. I think for an individual, before they even decide in their mind that's going to be like their life goal, before they even take that step, the first thing you have to do is to, if there is any kind of inclination of fear in you, that has to be done away with. Like, you have to defeat your fear. For a lot of people, finding out the truth of something, let's say there's this person, there's a lot of times when you follow a character in like any story, in whether in like a book or a movie or whatever, let's say they're looking for the truth about something, right? And that's their whole life goal, and they're supposed to, once they reach their life goal, they're supposed to be happy, right? There's many stories out there where that's not the case, where they find the truth and it changes everything, right? um I'm big on anime, and my favorite anime is Attack on Titan, and this topic could be related to that. Even that's why that story is like one of my favorite stories. To like sidetrack, this is going off in a whole different direction, but like, that's why that story is my favorite story, where like everyone's trying to fight, they're like bounded by all these walls where they don't know anything, and it's assumed that once they know, like, that's like the book end, right? Like, okay, we achieved our goal, but once the truth is found, like, oh my goodness, like, we aren't the only people here. There's other people out there, right? Like, there's other people in the world where they finally find out, and most part that's like a bad thing for them, right? Because it's assumed that it's just titans, but no, it's people, like real people, and that's kind of a bad thing. And I'm going back to like what I was saying. For a lot of people, finding out the truth won't change a thing. Learning the truth learning a new truth may lead to a new fear, or a fear they didn't know that they had, where they suddenly become aware of this, where their situation has changed, and now they're in a situation where they're unfamiliar with, where they never expected to be in this situation, and now this new thing that they've learned or have become aware of is something that they're not prepared to deal with, and now that's led to a fear, and now that fear is keeping them like complacent, or is suddenly their quest for truth has become this fear that's locked them in a cage, and has like immobilized them, and they can't go any further, basically. And that's the basis of what I'm saying. Like, truth isn't what will set you free, because you don't know. Assuming that you're looking for the truth, you don't know what the truth is yet. Now that truth that you were once searching for becomes your greatest fear, or a greater fear of a fear that already had existed, like some preconditioned fear. And now that you know the truth, that's adding on to that fear, and now it's become a greater fear. And now that fear, whatever action you do, whatever move you make, is now decided by that fear. Now that fear controls you. That doesn't sound like freedom to me, you know what I mean? So now with like every thought you have like, oh my god, like this thing in your mind, like it's basically controlling your every move, which is the complete opposite of that statement. And it's all because you couldn't handle the truth. You feel me? You have to be prepared to know what the truth is. If the truth is what it is, and that leads to a new fear, you may be locked by that. So knowing the truth didn't set you free. Looking for the truth, like knowing the truth for the person in question, if they feared what the truth is, now that's locked them in a cage. For a lot of people, the truth is what doesn't set them free. For a lot of people, the truth is what cages them. The truth is what controls them. And like there's a lot of people in this world that can't handle like the truth, and like it will like control them. They're like mind controlled zombies or some shit. Like they can't break out of it or anything. It's like there's like they're stuck where they are, because their every interaction with people, that it'll judge everything. It'll literally, it's like a plague, it's like a virus. It literally consumes them. It's the complete opposite of what of that statement. That it goes from the truth will set you free to the truth imprisons you. For a lot of people, the truth is what imprisons them, because they're terrified of it, and a lot of people can't even come to terms with the truth. And that truth turns into fear, and that becomes a cage for them, and that's where like they're locked in this cage, and you know their quest for truth is already over, because this fear is there and they can't walk out of that cage. That's why I feel like this other statement that everyone is familiar with, that statement being the only thing to fear is fear itself. Once you can defeat your fear of fear, then you'll be prepared to face, or you'll be more equipped to go and search for truth. Like, because if you cannot defeat your fear of fear, you're bound to be knocked like easily. You find this new situation now, and you're like, oh my goodness, I never imagined like this is what it would be. I can't, like, you know, like, and now you're terrified of something that, and now you're terrified of the very thing that you've been searching your whole life for, you know. And that's just really, like, sad if you think about it. Like, this is what you were supposed to do. That's why, like, I like talking about stuff like this, where this is like actual, like, real shit people need to like actually think about. Like, you know, had I been in this situation, how would I act, or whatever? Like, would I be afraid to say like my truth just because fear of what like people will think of me, or like of, like, you know what I mean? So like, people really need to think about that. And I feel like another thing, that is what leads to your true self. That's when you reach your potential, because reaching your potential, you have to go through a lot to get there. You have to defeat a lot of shit. Fear is one of them. Fear of what people think, fear of what people may say about you. You know, that is, it's all like a mental game, you know. You have to be mentally strong to get there, you know. And like, defeating fear is one of the best things you can do to shoot yourself into the direction of your potential. Truth isn't what's, I think that statement should be changed, where truth isn't what sets you free. Loss of fear, or the rejection of fear, is what will set you free. Because if you can stare the truth right in the face and then accept it, and then continue to move on with your life, that right there is what will set you free, because you've defeated the fear, whatever that truth is. That's kind of what I want to talk about, like, on this channel. I want to talk a lot about like things that like hold a lot of humanity back, and that's just fear. And like, I think fear is a big thing that holds a lot of people back, a lot of young people. And so I really wanted to talk about this, because a lot of people don't know this, especially a lot of young people, you feel me? I don't think, a lot of people think like young people shouldn't like think about stuff like this, or like, bro, you're gonna need to know this life shit in order to be able to like be prepared for this shit. That's why, like, I hope like a lot of young people like actually think about shit like this, or like, or if this video comes across a lot of young people who have this on their mind. Like, me when I was young, I was always thinking about, I've always been like overthinker, right? And I feel like what happens to a lot of young people is like, they'll go to like adults and like express these concerns or whatever, and they'll just wave it off like, no, you don't need to worry about stuff like that, you're too young to be thinking about that. Like, bro, if I had a kid, I would never ever do shit like that, bro. I feel like that's one of the most negligent things you can do, where that's a real life concern. Like, you as an adult, you have to come to terms with shit like this too. Like, you know what I mean? So to wave it off is crazy. To ignore, the one thing I cannot do is ignore a valid concern of life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so very few people in this world like can see that. And so I want to talk about like, I guess woke shit. I guess like real woke shit. And I'm hoping to like find, and I'm hoping to like hear something back from other like-minded, you know, intelligent people, because I like talking to other intelligent people who think about stuff like this, you know, who see this stuff, who are like aware, real. I don't even like the word woke, because now that word has been like now that word is like a joke, like, but like people who are awake, who are aware, you know. But yeah, so that's what I want this channel to kind of be on. And really, like, for this channel, I have like epiphanies here and there, like where I really think about shit, and that's where I find inspiration to make videos for this channel. So yeah, I'm hoping, I don't know, I hope I'm on a roll with these ideas that I'm coming up with, because then I'll have a lot of content to post. So let's say that truth that you found out is somewhat damaging to you in some way, and you can still accept that truth and keep on moving forward. That's because you're fearless. You defeated your own fear. Nothing can stop you. That's true freedom, you know. And you can keep like moving forward. That right there is true freedom. So basically, in conclusion, the truth will not set you free. Rejection of all fear is what will set you free. So that's just what I was thinking about a couple days ago, and I wanted to make this video to kind of talk about that, because I thought it was really interesting, because I've never, like, that was the first time I've come to that realization. And yeah, I have like a lot of other realizations. Whenever I have like an epiphany like this, I always write it down, and like think maybe I'll write a video on it. So yeah, that's this video. Thanks for watching. If you watched, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to. I'll probably do some like this, like commentary like this. I have other commentary ideas, but I'm gonna start off with stuff like this too. And yeah, if you have your own input, leave in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know your life experiences, if you dealt with something like this, or if it relates to you. What is it Logic said? Who can relate? Something like that. I don't even know. But like, yeah, if you have any you know, valuable input in the comments, put it down below, because I'll probably read it, because I learn a lot from other people's lives and experiences. So feel free to put that in the comments. And yeah, that's it. It's Nail. Peace.